Alrighty then, Successful Indie Author 5-Minute Focus, episode 699, pen names. Ooh, look at him. He's all sleepy because we had a good walk this morning. Alrighty then, pen names. You can have 3 on your Amazon account, and sometimes that's all you need. Some people have a lot more pen names than that, but keep in mind one of the big drawbacks of pen names is each pen name is an entity unto itself, which means it probably should have its own social media, its own newsletter, its own persona, and that's how you present it to your fans, or the fans of that pen name. And the reason you have the pen name is to keep your genres separate. I mean, if you write sweet romance on one end and you write hardcore boner fic on the other end, you might want to keep those readerships separate because they probably don't cross over. And you don't want to pollute the one with the other where people are so offended that they're never going to read you again, even though they love your sweet romance. So that's an outstanding reason to have a pen name for the separate, non-crossover kind of readership. And then you can do that and you can explore your literary boundaries and write what grabs you at the time. But keep in mind, 2 separate personas do not cross the streams, because that's the end of all things as we know it. And it could negatively impact your business. So you really, really have to take care. And that's one of the big problems with pen names is you have to take care. Now, sometimes you get that crossover and you say, hey, this is me writing as. Like me writing as C.H. Gideon. I thought I'd keep all my military sci-fi in one channel, and that didn't really work. So me writing as this, that's me if you don't know it. And one pen name I killed in entirety just because it was gaining no traction. It was a lot better just under my name. So I write all of my disparate stuff under my name, even though some of the stuff might be better differently. And that's like my nonfiction. Maybe putting a middle initial in there, Craig H. Martelle. That's what Mark Dawson does. He puts his nonfiction under with an initial. So you can still see it's him, but just a little bit different. So plan carefully. This is not something to do on a whim because of all those separate channels. You have to do all the setup. Now, once you've gone through all the setup of a newsletter, a website, social media channels, the second time is easier. So for pen name, second time or the third time, but still, it's a lot of monkey kind of work. And do you really want to do it? So go in with your eyes wide open, knowing exactly what you're going to get yourself into. Now, one of the big problems nowadays is with Europe's new laws, it might be problematic keeping your real name a secret. So you're trying to publish under your pen name and you're trying to advertise to the German, French, and any of the European markets, and all of a sudden it's your name associated with it. So you're going to get that, you could get that pollution of your pen name with your real name, unless you set up a separate business to try to be the advertiser and then the publisher, and it could be extremely convoluted, and the law is still undetermined on what that means. So you may be able to advertise just under your pen name, but then again, you may not. And the initial bets are on that you will not, that you have to put it under your real name with a real address. So both things you probably don't want to have with your sweet romance that you published under your real name and your boner fic that you published under your pen name. And then you put your real name on there with your real address, probably not optimal. So internet sleuths could always find you out. So just understand that when you have a pen name, when you write something that's so disparate, that maybe they'll find you. And no, I'm not Chuck Tingle, even though Chuck Tingle now has a real book besides his other stuff published through Tor, I believe. So anyway, never cross the streams when you have these separate pen names. Do your best to keep them separate and keep them separate. All right. The big bonus is it keeps your non-crossover genres intact, and you can advertise very specifically with these pen names. But otherwise, it's a lot of extra work. Just make sure it's worth it. Go in with your eyes wide open. Peace, fellow humans.